Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And I've plucked out a handful of unusual comics ranging from the 60s to the 90s. There's some unusual titles. Before we get into those, though, I want to remind you I've got two books available: Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, which is a book with mostly some humor, so a little bit of adventure in there, and then Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes, which is a little more mainstream with some superhero stuff and a little bit of horror and some other things. And both of these books are available for $7.99, available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble online stores or some other online outlets. $7.99 each. That's just Google the titles: Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes, Bizarre Brain Comics Presents, or correction, Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, and it'll come up with a link to one of the sellers for you. And thank you very much. So here we go with this fistful of some unusual titles. This is, and we're starting off with, this is from Dell Comics, 1965, issue number 1 of Nucla, the first action-packed adventure of the greatest superhero on Earth. Well, he obviously wasn't the greatest superhero, because no one's heard of him. I've only seen a few issues. I don't know how many issues actually ran. And it's from Dell Comics, which at that time wasn't as in the 60s, after the split with Western Publishing, and became Gold Key, and then Dell continued. They didn't get nearly as much distribution, as good distribution as they had before, because in my recollection, I never saw any current Dell Comics anywhere in my part of the country at that time. So this is read the exciting origin of Nucla. And this is something to do with a U-2 pilot, and something happens to him, and he becomes a superhero or so. And I don't know. I haven't read this one, but I think I'm going to. This has got me interested enough. I don't want to go too much into that one, because I want to do an episode on that. Nucla. Then the other side of the coin, Gold Key Comics. This is from 1969, from Hanna-Barbera's TV Superheroes, featuring the Herculoids, Birdman, Shazam, and Moby Dick. Also Mitor. And I've shown a couple other issues of this at some time, and it's some really nice. Of course, the stories were very, very short, and very little overall plot. It's always had some nice artwork, and the artwork in here really reminds me of from all the stories. Reminds me of Russ Manning, who had done some of this stuff before, but I don't think Russ Manning did this artwork, because this is 69. This is after he had left Gold Key and was doing the the Tarzan comic strip, I believe. And so I am leaning towards maybe being Mike Royer, because Mike Royer was an assistant, an inker on a lot of Russ Manning's work, and still was on the comic strip and stuff through this time. But he did do, and he could really imitate the Russ Manning style very well. and because he did that for some Tarzan stories after Russ Manning had left, and so that's what I'm leaning towards. Of course, I grew up with these animated shows. The original time, first time in the 60s. I did not get to see Birdman, but once or twice as a kid because it was on a channel we didn't get very well. Then we go to that frog does not want to go away. See if he's left now. Then we go to 1975. With Marvel Presents number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. And this is the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Only one of these characters was in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and he was not one of the heroes. And that is this character here, Yondu. And these were the original. I had the first issue featuring the Guardians of the Galaxy. I got the first few issues. I kind of liked it, and actually I prefer these the original Guardians of the Galaxy to the later incarnations. And yeah, completely different bunch of cast of characters. And yeah, Steve Gerber, Al Milgrom, Terry Austin. Some nice stuff. Then we have 1978, The $6 Million Man, number 7. And this has artwork by Fred Himes and Pat Boyette doing the inks. And both the cover did real nice. I had several issues of The $6 Million Man and The Bionic Woman as well, and I plan on eventually doing some on those. One thing, of course, very keeping in with the TV show. Oh, it even has robots in it, which was a frequent enemy of The $6 Million Man and The Bionic Woman. They did a real good job with likenesses of the actors for most of the time, and they were able to do things, of course, in a comic that just couldn't have done on a TV show, but not a whole lot. Frog still there. Then we have, what year was this? I forgot and looked at it. I looked and I forgot. 1977, Modern Comics, which is actually Charlton Comics. It was Modern Comics was a Charlton imprint. And this is The Blue Beetle, number 3. This is from 77. It's a reprint from 1967 with the whole thing plotted and drawn by Steve Ditko. Now I really liked Ditko's work in these books. Don't have very many of them, and it also has the Question in it, of course, and they later became standard DC characters. And might have to do an in-depth on that one sometime. Then still with Charlton Comics is Charlton Bullseye, number 6, starring Thunder Bunny. I've covered Thunder Bunny here before. This is Macklin and Jerry Ordway on the cover, but the interior art was, come on. It is written by Martin L. Green, who wrote all the Thunder Bunny stuff, and artwork by Mike Macklin. And this is, yeah, I think this has got the origin story of Thunder Bunny, and it's a lot of fun. And the artwork is kind of like a mashup between Ditko and Kirby, and has some other stuff in there. Has a Mike Mauser story, and then some other little bit of funny animal stuff in there. But this is, as I said, this is reprinted from 67. Then, or some of it was anyway. So then, anyway, it doesn't matter. Then we have DC's Masters of the Universe issue 2 of 3-issue miniseries. Actually, I found this. This is the second copy I had somewhere in my collection. I did before did an in-depth on the entire miniseries, but I like this cover. And this is like George Tuska and Alfredo Alcala doing the doing the artwork with Paul Cooperberg, and this is early in the days of the Masters of the Universe toys, and I think it was just before or about the time the TV show came out, and then later had an ongoing series at Marvel. Here's one that's kind of unusual. Is from Ocean Comics. This is 1987. Is an incredible origin issue of Popeye, Born to the Sea. Of course, Popeye created by E.C. Segar. But this is not the same kind as in the comic strip, Thimble Theater. Completely different art style and storytelling, but still has humor. I haven't read this in a while. I want to do an in-depth on this, and written by, I've been wanting to for a while, and I didn't know where it was, and I come across it. So, and this was written by Ron Fortier. And I was surprised that I didn't realize he had done it until was it last year, I think, when I was talking with him at one of the conventions. Written by Ron Fortier and drawn by Ben Dunn from Ninja High School. So we'll take a deeper look into that sometime. Then we have one of Marvel's other attempts at humor. I enjoyed this title. Lasted a while. It's a bi-monthly ish title. What the? And I really liked it. It was basically a parody of their mainstream their regular comics. For this issue only, the Invisible Woman poses wearing nothing but an eye patch. And of course you don't see the thing of her. On sale now, Marvel Comical Critters, starring Goose Rider. Of course, that's a parody. They had all kinds of self-parody here. Even had Stan Lee wrote one of them here. Silver Burper had one that was a parody of the Batman movies. Obnoxio the Clown, I like some of that. The Punisher. These were always fun, but whenever they would do a humor title, it would never last but 2, maybe 3 years. And I always enjoyed them. And then we're going to finish up with this is from 1991, and then we're going to finish up with from 1992, Innovations Hero Alliance Special #1. I never got a whole lot, too many of Hero Alliance. Always had some really, really nice artwork, as you can see here on the cover. I can't make out the signature of the artist on the cover, but the interior art was done by Stuart Immonen. Now, one of the unusual things about this Hero Alliance was that, if I remember correctly, that focused more on the personal and interpersonal lives of the superheroes, and most of the action took place off page somewhere. Not all, but most of it. And so that it was a different take on it. It was like a soap opera without the action scenes. And look at this. It had some really nice artwork, and then on the back cover, it's Innovation. I had done some Lost in Space that covered them and various other things. And they were known for making the ladies a little extra lovely and sexy all the time. And most of the heroes just a little extra handsome than even for the normal comics. So that was all I had to share with you this time. What do I want to put up there? For some rather unusual comic titles from the 60s to the 90s. not much, but I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Tell me, are there any of these that you would like to see more in depth of? Let me know in those comments down below. And remember, comics are art.